Hello, everybody. How you doing? This is like a blast from the past, isn't it?
Oh, we were just sitting here saying how weird this feels to do another Facebook Live.
It is weird, but it's good. Can you all hear us? Let us know. Put a thumbs up in the comment box if you can hear us. Louisa's just filling me in on how our oldest son, just as the countdown time was coming to its conclusion, how our oldest son, Caleb Bird, got picked on yesterday at school. It sounds quite funny to me, but we can hear. Oh, good. They can hear us. Happy days. Right, Luby, tell them how Caleb got picked on yesterday.
Some kid yesterday got his drink bottle out of the tray and was going to pass it to him, and his name's written on it, and it says Caleb Bird. And he said, a kid called him Caleb Turd.
Caleb Turd.
And I was like, what did you do? And he went, I laughed. It was funny. And I was like, it is funny. To be fair, it is funny.
Yeah, but what you didn't tell them is that like you armed Caleb.
Well, no.
With a comeback.
No. Caleb said to me, it's so hard that our name rhymes with turd. And I was like, but you could do that to anybody's name. And he was like,
but you can't tell their name. You can't say their name on here. Let me tell you what happened. Louise said, well, what was the boy who said this to you? And Caleb said his name. And Louise gave him
instantly
a mean comeback.
Instantly a comeback, a really funny comeback. He was like, you could do it with any name. And he was like, no, you can't. And I was like, try me. And I did. And then he gave me 3 others and I did it with them too.
So you're the bully then?
So I'm just arming Caleb with comebacks.
It's not the sort of behaviour you should get from pastors, is it?
No. But at the same time, I was like, just laugh at it though. Like, it's funny. Turd is funny. You can't help it. Turd is funny.
Caleb Turd.
I want to call him Caleb Turd now.
Like Tanya's saying, building resilience. Totally true. Tanya, you're on the money. You're definitely a bird, I think. It's definitely building resilience. Anyways, how are you guys doing today? It's so good to be. This is like what we were doing a year ago, isn't it?
This is our life.
This was our life, like on a regular basis for so long. Doing church this way, doing forethoughts. Do you remember those forethoughts?
Get like shudders back from the PTSD.
From losing our dog. From losing our dog, basically. But the reason we're doing this today is because on Sunday at both Poole and Ferndown, we looked at the issue of financial health. And maybe, or maybe it didn't, it raised a lot of questions. Now, we know that unlike lockdown, people are back to work or off furlough. So less people are going to watch us live in this moment. But obviously this building is going to be, Alan Cook says, just like old times. Come on.
True.
I like it when you call the old times like a year ago. Are we?
Yeah, you sit here, I sit there normally.
Not today, baby.
Mixing it up.
I don't know. Does anyone miss church online done that way? Out of interest. When I say
don't.
You don't miss it?
No.
Oh, I do a little bit. That was fun.
That was stressful.
That was fun messing around here.
With the internet that just kept crashing. The amount of like pain. Oh, our whole house. We had to empty our house every Sunday to try and put up lighting rigs.
That was fun though, wasn't it?
For you.
Oh, it's good fun.
I had to bribe the kids with so many sweets to keep them silent.
It's weird, isn't it? Like the world's kind of slowly returning to normal. Yeah. And it's cool. Like I'm amazed by you know what's coming.
Tanya.
You know what's coming.
That's one of my PTSD moments. You just resurrected, Tanya.
Right, go on then.
Jesus, come back. This would be a great moment. Save me from this. What are you doing? Oh, come in.
I'm in the basement.
Oh. Can I go in the basement?
Huh?
Oh my God. Have you got bigger since lockdown? Still hasn't lost his COVID stone. He's birthing. The table is birthing him.
Mummy.
Oh.
Sorry, guys. I was just in the basement again.
There he was.
You know how it is.
Oh.
If what I could do is I could go to the attic.
No.
Do you remember the attic one? You didn't enjoy the attic one, did you?
I didn't lost any of it. I didn't enjoy it.
Oh no! Look at this. We lost our dog on Sunday.
Oh, again.
What?
Daisy.
How did that happen?
Sneaky.
What? She escaped out the house while they were at church?
She did before. Yeah, she did before.
How? Do you leave a door open out of
I
interest?
can't remember how she did it, but she got out and she got found, obviously, and lost again.
Oh,
and found again.
Well,
Yay.
I'm pleased you found
That's
her.
Daisy. She's funny.
That's scary, isn't it?
No.
My word. Love the attic. The camera angle not quite right. Okay, Tanya, it's all right. I'm just going to nip upstairs. What do you want from the attic? I'll go and get it.
I want my sanity.
Okay, no worries. I just...
Oh, no one needed that. What are you doing now?
I don't know.
Oh, you're lost. Do you need to come down this way?
That's all right. I'll go back to my spot.
Glory.
Oh, can people see my war wound?
Dom injured himself on Sunday.
Look at that.
Don't touch it.
Why?
Oh, it makes me feel funny.
So what happened is Sunday afternoon after church, I went to rip out our bathroom, and I took a mallet hammer to the pedestal of the basin, and some of the ceramic thing broke off and went through my leg.
Bloodbath. Literally, bloodbath.
Bloodbath. Oh, bloodbath room. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It's funny
Anyway,
because
shouldn't we get...
Caleb kept thinking I was swearing, didn't he?
Oh, because you were saying it's bloody.
Yeah, I was saying it's bloody. Oh, you can't say that.
It's bloody in here.
Careful, that cloth's bloody. Bloody cloth. And Caleb's
Pass me the bloody.
Alan Cook says that she escaped out of Leslie's mum's back
That's
garden.
what happened last time. I remember now. Sneaky Daisy.
That is sneaky.
We should get crack-a-lacking anyway, because if people are on their lunch break, they don't want to hear about your war wounds.
I think they do.
No, but
would you like to see it? Would you like me to reveal? Do you want me to reveal the wound?
No, you can't.
Do a game show.
Facebook will take it off because it's grotesque.
It's not grotesque. Okay, so on Sunday, we looked at the theme of financial health, and I spoke at Poole campus. Adam spoke at Ferndown campus. And at Ferndown campus, I know they did kind of more of a broad teaching on financial integrity and all that kind of stuff, whereas at Poole campus, we looked mostly at tithing. And, you know, for a seasoned Christian, they would have heard the term tithing and understand the principle of it. But even then, doesn't mean necessarily they practice it or that they believe that it still stands. And so I tried to give some theological kind of framework around that. But we thought, obviously, when you talk about money, it's a sensitive issue, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Because people don't think they've ever got very much. We think like that sometimes, right? We think like sometimes we could do with a little bit more. That would be helpful. Then I wouldn't have to be refurbing the bathroom by myself. Could pay someone to do it. You know, but like we thought it'd be cool to jump into this forum live so that you could ask questions. We've also got some questions as well that kind of we've heard when we talk about money before. We've asked in small group and stuff like that. Frequent FAQs.
Yes.
On financial health and tithing and giving and all that kind of stuff. But if you do have any questions, put them into the chat space.
Yay.
And I would love to answer them. Or we would love to answer them, because I don't assume that I'm the knowledge base on this one. But what were your thoughts on Sunday, Luby?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think it's a real challenge. And I think it's one, you know, you hear a fair bit, don't you? As a Sunny Hill, we don't really talk about money a huge amount. We've only recently started reintroducing the buckets to pass around for an offering. It was only something that we kind of tail-ended the back of the service with. But yeah, a lot of people struggle when the church mentions money at all.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because
why do people struggle?
Yeah, I think it's because it's too close to home, isn't it? Money's just one of those things that we get itchy about. We get funny about. Like, you seem to be able to talk about loads of other stuff, like faith and miracles and sharing your faith and all the kind of like Christian life stuff. But as soon as you go money, people just like prickle.
Yeah, it's true.
It's really, really sensitive. But we know that the scriptures talk about money a lot. And as Sunny Hill, we don't a huge amount, but we probably should more, because the Bible talks about money.
Yeah.
Loads. I read today that it's something like over 2,000 scriptures in the Bible mention money.
Wow.
That's more than faith and prayer combined.
And heaven and hell? And
so, yeah, apparently Jesus talked about money more than heaven and hell combined as well.
That's
so more
mental.
Than faith, prayer. Actually, it's more than 4 times. Yeah, it's insane amounts more than 4 times the amount of those things. It's just unbelievable, the amount that Jesus talked about and the amount of scriptures that are around finances. And yet when we break down what the church talks about, actually, it's not like we say a quarter of our stuff is about money, is it?
No.
A quarter of our teaching isn't about money.
Never. I think typically as a preacher / pastor, you feel awkward when you talk about money, because I think people, you wonder whether people will question the motive for talking about money.
Yeah.
Because there's always a valid motive.
That's a good question. Will you get a pay rise?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Wasn't that what somebody thought once? They gave you some money and they said, they put some money in the offering and they said, I put a bit extra in for you this week.
Yeah, so you should go out for dinner because I put some extra money in the offering bucket. And I'm like, it didn't work like that.
But I think that's generally what it feels awkward as soon as you get up on the platform and start mentioning money, because you worry that people are going to link it with
question the motive.
Exactly what money.
I think historically I was like that. I would always apologize about preaching about money, or try to explain as to why we're preaching about money. But I don't think Jesus ever did that. Imagine that on the Sermon on the Mount. Like he gets to, he starts to talk about like money and about provision and stuff. But he says, guys, just to let you know, this is the first time, like in my ministry, I don't normally talk about money. I normally talk about sin and prayer, but like I am going to talk about money. Like Jesus never was apologetic about that. And I think it's because like money is such an integral part of life. And also like Jesus had money. And I think we have to say that because yes, the Bible says that he had nowhere to lay his head, but it was comparing his earthly reality to what he'd left behind in heaven. But also like he had a treasurer. Like he wasn't a very good treasurer.
Yeah, right.
No one wants a Judas treasurer.
We've got a better treasurer.
At church.
We've got a better treasurer
So
than Jesus.
the Bible says about Judas that he put his own hand in the offering plate, right?
Not a good moment.
And actually women bankrolled Jesus' ministry. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yes,
Rich,
come on, the
wealthy
girls.
women. Girl power. Come on.
People of them.
So people against women earning money don't like the idea of Jesus' ministry, really, because it was funded largely by women. And I think like, the fact that Jesus dealt with money, he had a treasurer, so his ministry entourage, that obviously people were giving them money, or when they were speaking about money, people were choosing to invest in the ministry of Jesus, which I think is a good investment. But I think like I was talking about Sunday is like money never drove Jesus' decisions, never drove his motives. He was just a servant to the cause. And I think money's like that. But Tanya's got a question here.
Yeah, no, that's not a question.
Oh.
About the fact that we don't mention money too much.
No, that's great insight. Look at this. It is a culture thing. I think that's right. It's a good observation.
We're not very good about mentioning. It's like, when like you say, oh, I love that shirt that someone's wearing. They're like £4. Only £4 in Primark. £4. like it's just cheapness and like. No,
but can I say, right, I think that's the difference between men and women, because women boast about how cheap something is and men boast about how expensive something was. So like this shirt, £80. That's how much it costs us.
80 quid.
But it's typically a woman.
But it feels very worldly to talk about money, doesn't it? Like it feels like one of those kind of conversations, not something that you would find.
But like, I like that observation that like when you go to other church, I'm just gonna burp, sorry.
Glory.
When you go to other churches, largely of, I guess, African kind of origin or whatever, like even within our movement, there's a total celebration of giving. Like when it comes to the offering part of the service, people are amazing. They're dancing.
Yeah, they can't wait.
They're dancing to give money. Like no one's going to stop me giving God like my offerings and my tithes and stuff. And I think it's like, whereas like in our culture, which is more conservative, because Tanya says, right, it's a culture thing, conservative and reserved, we're kind of really prude about it. And we're like, almost miserable. We're like, oh, money's dirty, or just like, oh, the church are asking for my money again, kind of scenario, cynical about it. I would love to go to a church like Sunny Hill, but has such a healthy giving culture. It's exciting.
Yeah,
it's
I remember
exciting.
we went to the Apostolic Conference one year. Yeah. And you could tell the white churches from the black churches, because they just loved that moment, didn't they? Where they got to celebrate giving, and we just were terrible at it. We were like, awkward.
I could dance like that. I could do my.
No, don't dance.
Gonna give.
Look at that! You've never looked whiter. Never looked whiter than you look right now. It's great.
Unbelievable.
There's a question there, though.
That's a great question, Alan.
And I'm guessing he means tithes.
Tires.
Not tires. Unless you are in the habit of giving 10% of your tires.
That's why when you come out of church on a Sunday and you've got no wheels on your car, it's because the Apo Church has come and plundered your tire provision.
Tithes. So do our tithes go directly to the Apostolic Church?
Well, let me answer that. No, they don't go directly. They go to Sunny Hill. Sunny Hill is its own church with its own bank account. It's its own charity and all that. So we're able, for those who are taxpayers, able to reclaim gift aid as a church locally. However, we do pay, we give a donation, an annual donation to the AC, which is part of our church tithe corporately. So in the same way that we say to the people of the church, we should be tithing, which generally represents a tenth of the income. As a church, we try to send a tenth of we send, I think, about 12% of our income away from the house. So to mission, to apostolic church ministry, to local church planting things within the AC, not local church planting, nationwide church planting stuff. So a portion of our tithes do, because as a church, we want to tithe, we want to practice what we preach. But actually, it comes to Sunny Hill local church. Hope that helps. Alan, great question that is.
Right, and our first question. Thank you, Alan.
No, Tanya's was a question.
No, hers was more of a statement, like it's about culture.
I thought it was a question. Louise DeRimple says, if we depend on God, we don't need to be driven by money. Our faith lies in his goodness to supply and not that of the bank balance.
Preach.
Amen. Preach. Come on, let's hear your most Pentecostal preach. I'm going to say that again. Your most Pentecostal response, okay? Our faith lies in his goodness to supply and not that of the bank balance.
Preach.
Preach. You need to woo. He motivates us to spend wisely, which in turn reflects in our bank balance. When tithing, you always seem to have more in each month. That's such a good insight, isn't it? I think that's really true. Is that like it's just a supply that never runs dry.
It's good.
That rhymed. It's a supply that never run dry. Yeah.
Anyway, someone else asked a question. He's going to rap. Please don't let him rap.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Can I ask a question?
I feel like a rash.
I've got some questions.
When I'm speaking on cash.
Okay, here's a frequently asked question that we get. You're welcome, guys. I saved you from a rash. From a rash? From a rap about rash. Anyway, do you have to tithe if you are in debt? Or should you tithe if you're in debt, should I say? Yes,
you should tithe even when you're in debt. Tithe is the first fruits of your thing. So actually your tithe is more important than your debt. It's not just my opinion. I think that's what the Bible teaches, really. I think that your tithe is your priority. That's your first priority. It's your paramount priority. Everything follows that. Your taxes, your debts, your mortgage, your food bills, all that kind of stuff. And if your debt is so significant that you don't think you can afford a tithe, I think you need to find other places to cut back on in order to bring your tithe to the storehouse.
Absolutely.
That's right.
I think it's I thought it was quite interesting, the difference between tithes and offerings. Yeah. They're two different things, right? They tend to get like lumped together. But tithe is the 10%. That's the 10% principle in the Old Testament that we see carried on into the New. And offerings is kind of generosity above and beyond that. So I think tithing the 10% is the first fruits. Comes out of your income first before the debt handlers get their grips on it. Yeah. But potentially the kind of above and beyond generous acts, you pay the other things first.
Yes.
And if there's room for generosity after your debts have been paid, then that's a great place to start giving from. But certainly tithe first, offerings is a out of the overflow. I actually read, you love Dave Ramsey, don't you?
I love Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey, who is Dave Ramsey?
Dave Ramsey is like a financial expert. He's kind of like America's answer to Dave. Is it Dave Lewis? No, Paul Lewis. What's that? Financial money expert. Martin Lewis. Martin Lewis. Our English financial guy who's always on the news. Dave Ramsey is America's answer to that, but Dave Ramsey is also a committed Christian. So he's got all of like the more secular principles of finance, which he speaks on. But you should check him out on YouTube. Definitely, because he talks about this stuff, talks about debt management, and very practical when it comes to budgeting.
He talks about the fact that tithing, whilst you're in debt, is still a very important thing to do. Even as someone who manages and helps people get out of debt, he says tithe is the first thing that comes out of your.
If you'd like to hear an impression of Dave Ramsey, just let us know in the chat, because I will do one, because he's proper American. I will do one if you want one.
You're so good. So kind.
But yeah, like Joe Mengel's got a great observation. Any of us with a mortgage is basically in debt, which is true. I mean, like the Bible talks about debt, and like we should be trying to be free from debt. But I think mortgage is like an investment. Obviously, buying a house generally month by month is cheaper than paying rent, which is
True.
crazy. And you're investing in property. And I think that's a good thing. Investments, I believe, are good. I think it's a good way to steward finance. But technically it is debt because you owe a bank some money, but we still have to tithe. As Joe says, we still need to tithe. Tanya's got a great question. What do you think about tithing from benefits? What's your thoughts on that? And can I just say before you answer that, hey, Kate, how you doing?
Yay,
Good to see you.
Oh, bless her.
She misses us so much.
You're so sweet.
Who more,
Miss you too.
me or Louise? Just out of interest. You can be honest. It's a safe place. It's a safe place, Kate. You can be as honest as you want to be.
Tithing benefits.
Yeah.
I mean, biblically, of all of your increase, the Bible says, honor the Lord with all of your increase.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of any income that you get, whether it's your main income, a side hustle, that you could, if you wanted to, interpret that scripture to mean, birthday money, or like the inheritance, or money that you get from a sale of a house that you make money on. You could kind of go as forensic as you wanted, but I definitely think if it's a case, it's a heart issue, isn't it? If it's a case of how do I give more, then that's the starting point. It's not how do I keep more. So if you're looking for a biblical framework on, can I give out of my benefits? Yes, absolutely, definitely. Of all of your increase, you can give.
Yeah, 1,000%. Oh, Kate's answered as to who she misses more.
Come on. I love you, Kate. We chat on Instagram. It's nice to
I
see
don't know.
you.
I'm just going to look on here. How do you remove people from?
Yeah, I know.
How do you remove people from?
And then she's also just confirmed it. Miss Lou Moore. So Lou, Miss Lou Moore. Just.
I'm trying to remove her.
Don't remove her.
Okay, there's too much love going on here. She put lol, which means, what does that mean?
Love of Lou.
Love of Lou. Very good. Very good. Right, how do I move her?
No.
She needs to go. She must go. She's plaguing the chat space with Lou love.
Oh, I love it. Amazing. Right, I've got more questions. Anybody else got any more questions? Because I can fire these all day.
That's the piano.
Okay, here's a good one.
Let's go.
What if you're married?
Ooh.
And you're married to someone who's
that
not.
wasn't the problem.
If you're married to someone who's not. Okay.
Seriously?
Carry on.
I look so tired today, don't
I
I?
look tired today. It's because we're not showering. Because we're doing the bathroom. We're not showering.
I showered last night, thank you. I went to Matt's and showered.
Shower day for me today. Anyway, what if you're married to someone who's not a Christian? Should you still tithe?
I think that's a great question, and it's hard for me to speak into that because I can't relate to that, and everyone's situation is different and can bring a different measure of tension into their house. And we've had people at Sunny Hill who have sought to serve or tithe in other ways that is more reasonable to their spouse's point of view. Personally, I think where we can, we should be thinking about, as believers, with the money that we earn, we should be looking to tithe. Say not tithing the household income, because obviously if your husband or wife isn't a Christian, it's not really fair that you tithe their income. But let's say you've got a part-time job, you work 10 hours a week and you earn, say, £80 a week, then bringing a tithe of £8 is a good thing. Now, obviously, if that brings tension into your home, it's a heart issue. It's not a maths issue. So it's a lot more nuanced than saying, but I do think if you can, you should. Or if you're just looking for a reason not to, then that speaks to a bigger heart issue. So it's not just about the benefits of it being a heart issue. It's also about the challenges of being a heart issue. But I think that's kind of a common thing when you've got one Christian spouse and one non-Christian spouse.
It's really hard.
Ideally, even though one isn't a Christian, there's still enough mutual love and respect for them to understand your sense of burden for, your faith and stuff. But I know that these things are always more nuanced.
Yeah, definitely.
Doug Clutterbuck. How you doing, Doug? Doug plays for Swanage, I think, football team.
Plays football.
Yeah, and every so often we come up head-to-head against them.
How good are you against Doug?
It says, switched onto this money chat, and first thing I hear Dom say is 1,000%.
Yeah, you tithe 1,000% of your 10%.
We do tithe. We try to tithe 1,000% of our income.
Of your 10%.
1,000% of my 10%. Good to see you, Doug. Hope you're doing well, my man. Good to see you. Alan Cook's observations are your benefits are still your income, so your tithe, your first 10% as usual. Exactly. So your income, it's not whether your income comes from work or whether your income comes through inheritance or a tax back or something. Why not tithing. I've asked before, like some people say, like let's say you get say $5,000 inheritance from your nan who was a Christian. I've heard people say this has already been tithed once.
Yeah.
You know, because people are blatantly trying to just
It's
hold
like
on to their money.
I've wiped that surface down. You don't need to wipe it down again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you may have wiped it down. I want to wipe it down, thank you.
Yeah.
So just because it's been pre-tithed, does that mean like now you're exempt from tithing it? Because it's still your income
choice,
for the
though,
first time.
isn't it?
It's a choice, but still. So Louise Dalrymple, that's really good insight. She says that she tithes from her personal money because Gavin, Louise's husband, doesn't currently come to church, but obviously great guy. I love Gavin so much.
Marriage I mean, God instituted marriages, isn't he? And he's passionate about marriage. So it all has to be done through relationship, doesn't it? And some marriages, they hold the tension of that, and some marriages can't. And so it's, you know, it's really hard. But like you say, as much as you can through conversation, try and navigate a way through it. But appreciate that, you know what, your marriage is important, and what your husband says or your wife says is massive.
Well, look at that. But sometimes from the joint account in honour of God and for keeping our joint income safe. That's interesting.
Oh, wow.
So Louise Dalrymple clearly thinks that she sees the promises and the benefits associated with tithing and decides that where appropriate, she should be tithing from that account. But like you say, so they've got the relationship that has the ability to be able to do that. And Gavin's a legend as well. We love Gavin so much. Awesome. So any other questions? We're only going to be another 15 minutes. We said we'd be online till 1:15. You got a good one.
I've got a really. Oh, is anyone else?
It got me thinking about birthdays and having those conversations with children for them to make their own choice.
Tanya's great at this. You know, like her daughter works and she's just already taught the tithing principle to her kids. I think it's amazing. But definitely, I think in educating our kids, let them see us be generous, let them see us be faithful in how we give, and it does just speak a really good lesson to kids at a really young age. That's brilliant. Because our kids don't have an income other than birthdays.
And even then it's like a second-hand skateboard from Gumtree that was on sale for like £7.20.
Okay, good question.
Tithe the wheel.
This one we get a lot, actually. So can I tithe to a charity instead? No.
Let me think. No.
It is a question that a lot of people have, though, isn't it? A lot of people would, you know, they have a charity that's close to their hearts, and so they give their tithe to charity. I think the thing to remember is that that's not what a tithe is. It's great that anybody who gives to a charity gives to a charity. We give to compassion, don't we? But it's not our tithe, because the tithe principle is that you bring it to the storehouse. It is a money offering to the house of God. And when you become a Christian,
where you get your grain from, where you feed from, that's bit's really important.
Yeah, because when you become a Christian, you become a child of God, part of the body of God. And so therefore you give into the body of God, which is the church. And so I think, you know, it also speaks to like, what is the purpose of the church? The purpose of the church is massive. It's kingdom purpose, isn't it? And I defy anybody to find a greater charity to give to that isn't about building the kingdom. Because although like we give to compassion, we love compassion, we wholeheartedly support.
This is my fourth son
and champion
Musa.
He's a legend. We love it. Hello. But as much as, you know, us giving one child an opportunity for education and welfare, it's not really the same as building the kingdom, which is the mandate upon the church. So if you're thinking between a charity and church, then I would say, which, you know, the kingdom of God, building the kingdom of God is the biggest cause on our life as Christians. So giving into that is a massive priority, but do both.
Musa's going to just go down to the basement.
Hi, Musa.
Bye, Musa.
It's really the attic. He lives up there.
Okay, fair enough. That's great. But in the Old Testament, it's called almsgiving. I think it's ALMS, and that is charitable giving after the first fruits income. So definitely.
Nobody asked that question, but I asked it.
Louis, I think it's a great question.
Thanks.
Louise Dalrymple says, it's important to train our children in tithing so it becomes a reality and they too realize money is a blessing, not an expectation, or a blessing and not a right, which I think is good. A really good insight.
And I think as well, it teaches kids to realize that the money isn't mine anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I think sometimes that's that's a hoarding mentality that we can come up with, isn't it? That we can think that this is my money, I earned it. But the Bible says that everything that we receive is from God.
Yes.
And so in which case, you teach that to your kids young, that whatever they get is a gift from God. And what was that Bible verse? I wrote it down. I really liked it. It says, what do you have that you did not receive? I love that. Like, what is mine anyway? That when I became a Christian, when I gave my life to Jesus, the Holy Spirit came into my life and I became his. I belong to him. Everything that I have is his, as by result of that. And so when I get anything, it's not mine anyway. And it teaches our kids, when we talk about it from a young age, that actually what they have is to be shared and to be a blessing to other people anyway.
So good.
And to not learn to do this hoarding thing that we are kind of, I don't know, it's innate in us to do this
Hold on to it.
The grip thing that we do.
On Sunday, I opened my message at Paul Campus with this idea that we have things in our life that just end up being there without us really thinking about it. And I showed our kitchen towel holder that found itself in the toilet. That'd been there for 8 years since we moved in.
Which, as a side note, was there until today.
Well, somehow, that's what I wanted to say.
It found its way back.
It found its way back, even though it's broken. Check this out. Look at that. Look at that. So now there's not even a rod holding the toilet roll. It's a wooden coaster holding a minging toilet roll in a minging toilet.
I can't believe it got back. I don't know how it got to church.
I blame you for that.
It got broken and then it found its way back.
I thought I'd broken the back of that.
It's terrifying. So I threw it away today, finally. It was like, what are you doing here? How are you here? How are you back? It's terrifying.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so one of the things that I think is really important to talk about is how often our finance changes. And similar to like that situation that you just said, there's things that become just ingrained in the pattern of our life.
Mm-hmm.
We don't notice anymore. And I know that we did like a tithe review, didn't we?
Yeah.
A couple of years ago when your income changed.
Yeah.
And we had to readjust it, didn't we? Because I think sometimes we get into a pattern of just seeing the same amount of money disappear from our account. No matter what actually happens in our financial situation, we can get a pay rise and not adjust our tithe. We can get a pay rise and not increase our generosity.
Yeah, don't review it.
You don't do any kind of a review. And one of the, Dave Ramsey would agree with this, one of the major things to do to try and get a grip on your finances as a whole is to review where you're at. And I would encourage anybody, this is a great time, September, it's the start of a new academic year, to review your finances, review where you're at with your budgets, every kind of budget, and see whether there's more room now than there was to be generous, assuming that there is already a tithe in place. And if there's not a tithe in place, or maybe if your income's changed over the last couple of years, to review whether your tithe needs to change, whether actually you're now only giving 7%, which we know is a heart issue and it's less about the figure, but there is a principle to be keeping in line with for sure. And so to make sure that you're keeping in line with the principle and that you're not just getting used to seeing the same money going out of your account and not finding the space to be
Tanya did it on Sunday,
and generous.
They reviewed it. Well, I think that's what she means. They reviewed their tithing and giving after church on Sunday, which is awesome. Or either that or she put the toilet roll thing back in our toilet after church. We did this.
You snuck back in our house, Tanya, and replaced our toilet roll.
We did that. We did that on Sunday after church.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's a great point. What Alan's saying here, I work my tithe out each month because that's another thing. A lot of people's income fluctuates. It changes. They earn a different amount every month, and so it's something that you could do every month. Yeah, it's great. It's a great suggestion, Alan.
Love it. There's some quality people online today.
Some faithful people, man.
Faithful. Because all the non-tithers, those who like holding their money a bit too tightly, don't want to watch this Q&A.
It is awkward. They'll watch it later and be like...
It's not awkward at all. It's like, boom.
They'll feel awkward.
They're like, boom.
They'll feel awkward.
Mic drop. Let's go.
So should we mention about gift aid?
Go on. Let's hear it. Well, do you want me to do it?
Do you know?
Well, I'll say what I think it is. It's not my wheelhouse, this particularly.
Gift aid, I'll do it. Do you want me to do
it?
Yeah,
do
it. Gift aid is a great way to increase what you give.
Without it affecting you?
Yeah, for free, completely. The government, and who knows how long this will be in place for, but the government agreed to give 25p for every £1 that's given as a charitable donation back to the charity. So for every £1 that you give, if you were a gift aider, if you were a taxpayer, then we could claim 25p back from every pound that's donated, which obviously means that we can do a lot more as a church with everything that everybody gives, which is massive, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
so big.
We want to build ministries on what people are giving, but isn't it amazing that we can get money back from the government for free? Like,
thank you, Boris.
I know. I mean, so many countries don't have that ability. It just blows my mind that we've got a government that will give us back money. Who knows how long the church will be able to have that. Here we go. Yeah, Danny Jackson, who's on our trustees, is a big fan of Gift Aid because it's the government giving money back to the church, which is huge. But there is
not often the government giving any money back. That is true.
Never a truer word spoken. But apparently, you have to earn.
Well, no, don't get.
For what?
Well, you're about to make it really complicated.
Yeah, Google it.
So basically, if you're not a taxpayer and you try to do it, or you don't earn enough tax to cover what you're giving, you just need to be mindful of that. But if you do have any questions about that, feel free email finance@sunnyhill.church, and we would love to assist you. And what I'll do now is I'll put that up, finance app. If you want to find out whether you are eligible, we can help you find out. Most people who work are eligible. I don't know why some people choose not to Gift Aid, because it's so good. So if you give £100 a month, the church is able to claim £125 or £25 extra on top of your £100 given, which is just cool. Which means the money goes a lot further.
And it's no cost to anybody else. It's just literally money back from the government.
That's so good, isn't it?
But yeah, do check that it doesn't interfere with if you need to be a taxpayer.
Definitely. So Louise says, I base my tithing on what my earnings are predicted to be the following week. If it increases, I can top up the following week. What if it decreases? She puts her hand in the bucket. She's just like, hey, you owe me 12 quid. I didn't get that cleaning job at Upton Country House. Right, boom.
Yeah. Oh, Joe says this. Another good reason to give your money regularly online or by standing order rather than tapping on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Standing order is a great way of giving direct from your bank account. And that's easy to do if you've got a regular income.
It's also actually better for ministry, I think, because it allows us to plan better.
Yeah, administratively.
Like, giving is giving, and we celebrate giving. Like if you give notes on a Sunday, because that's the way you're wired. But actually, we build our budgets out of people who are faithfully giving through standing orders, because we know this is a reliable source of income, which means we can plan. We can plan for Christmas and things like that, or, staffing or mission and all those sorts of things. So actually, standing orders are our most preferred way, isn't it? As a church. Administratively,
it makes it so much easier for budgeting. But we do have a website, sunnyhill.church. Every church will have a website, and that information will be on their website. If you're tuning in and you're not
if you go to another church, go to sunnyhill.church and just tithe to sunnyhill.church. That's totally fine.
We're not trying to get more people to give to Sunny Hill. We're getting people to give back to God. That's the heart behind what we're doing here. So
visit that website. And
or if you're not from Sunny Hill, the church that you get fed from.
Just go to that website, and sort it out. Now, if you go to the website, even if you're from another church, there's loads of information on there about tithing, first fruits, and there's stuff that will help you understand it a bit more. And then if you are part of Sunny Hill, all the information you need to get started.
And about gift aiding as well.
And like on Sunday, we do have those contactless tap machines, Jehovah Gyro.
Yeah. Nobody says gyro anymore.
When something's so funny, do you notice how people's shoulders like that?
Should say though that if you give in any other way other than a standing order, you can still gift aid. You can get an envelope and put your offering with your gift aid code into the bucket. But you again can email finance@sunnyhill.church for more information about that.
Right, another 5 minutes online.
Anybody else?
Any other questions?
Have I got any more questions?
How many questions did you write down?
I have a lot of questions.
Oh, here we go. Doug Clutterbuck. Let me put that in the thing. What is the name of him? This guy, he's got so many good books. His name is Dave Ramsey. Yes. This is the American financial guru consultant. And he's got a course called Financial Peace University. And it really is a practical course about how you should be budgeting, how you should be saving, how you should be paying down debt, how you should be tithing and doing all this stuff.
He helped us, didn't he? Not like personally.
It's quality.
And we went through all of our budgets.
He's brutal. So he's got this show where he just shouts at people, which is brilliant. So his impression would be like this: you gotta tithe, you gotta do your first fruit. Get your budget right. So, like for example, he would say, one of the practical things he would say, and there's loads of things, you should check him out. He's got loads of great resource online, loads of good books. But one of the things he would say, for example, never buy a brand new car, ever. And he's got big reasons as to why. He says super wealthy people don't even buy brand new cars because they know how illogical that is financially to do that. But anyways, I can't really pretend I know why. So I'm not going to try and argue his case. But just go and check it out. I've been very challenged by that. Colin says the danger of just giving in a Sunday is you can feel more like a consumer. That's true.
Yeah, or not. I like that. Paying for a good service. Or not. It's very true. Rather than partnering.
I'll read. I won't read into that.
No, it's good. You're not tipping. It's not a tip.
Pay for a good service.
The tithe
so
isn't
is
a
the
tip.
or not with regards to the paying bit, or whether it's a good service?
A good service, I think.
Yeah, that's what I think.
So I think that's true, though. I think some people think that they can donate or tip the church if they've done something helpful or whatever.
That's one of the reasons why when we talked about the buckets in COVID, we at Paul campus, we chose not to have buckets on the door because it feels like a donation box. And it's not about donations. It's not about donations to a charity. The tithing is your duty between you and God. It's giving to God. It's not about, I enjoyed worship today. There's a tenner. That's not the heart of giving at all. So, but definitely, I love that idea of partnering with the house rather than paying.
It's it, isn't it? It's being part of the body again and recognizing, you're serving alongside.
Alan Cook saying we got his books and really helped Dave Ramsey. There we go. Danny Jackson says new cars smell so nice though. Well, we wouldn't know, would we, Danny?
Because we're not poor, we're not rich enough.
Yeah, but it's true. I also beg to differ.
car.
I beg to differ on the new car smell. To be honest, I beg to differ.
Pungent.
Just to say that Danny's got a car where it's got speakers underneath each seat or something, and you can get the seats to fart.
Yes.
So you can make it sound like someone's farting in the back. That's funny.
That's a typical Danny Jackson car. Like if there's a car that screams Danny Jackson, it's one that farts.
No, if there's a car that screams Danny Jackson, it has a big night tick on the side of it. It looks like a big shoe, a big night trainer. And someone representing Sunny Hill says,
thank you, Sunny
buy
Hill.
an air freshener.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Sunny Hill, you can buy a new car. Smell
can you? You can buy an air freshener specifically for that scent.
Oh, your mum's online. Hey, Chris. How you doing?
We should also mention that as leaders, we don't know who gives and who doesn't give. Because sometimes we talk about money and then afterwards you get people coming up and saying, we haven't given, but we will give. And you're like, gosh, it's really not about that. It's between you and God. And we've made it part of,
it's like, imagine after church. Kind of like, right, okay, so Susie, tithe.
No pastoral care for you this week, Susie.
So you need to go on the food train, do you?
Not a chance, Susie.
Oh, really?
You've not paid your dues.
You got COVID and you want some casserole? Ain't happening.
You want someone to visit and pray with you? Not a chance.
Your name may be written in the book of life, but it's not written in the Sunny Hill Givers page. So you're done.
We don't know at all. We don't know who gives at all.
Someone does.
No.
We do track that stuff. We're not reckless with it, but
we know
we choose not to.
We
know
get updates on how our giving is, but we definitely don't know who.
And our giving as a church, let's just level with them, could be better. Like this last year, it's struggled on, hasn't it? I mean, I
think people's finances have struggled on, haven't they?
Don't be so defensive. Gosh. Let's hear. Do you think that a lot of people don't tithe to their church is because they don't like the way their money is being spent? That is a great question. We've had that before at Sunny Hill, haven't we? People
they don't know.
Huh?
Or they don't know how their money's being spent.
Maybe. I mean, I think that's definitely true, Chris. I think people stop giving sometimes because they don't agree with what it's being spent on, or because they're trying to punish their leadership team, like make a point, prove a point, like, if you do that, I'll just stop giving.
Withhold my tithe.
But I think people who withhold their tithe fundamentally misunderstand what a tithe is, because it's not like, yes, we're paying, like the whole idea of the tithe. It's like, as a church, Sunny Hill, we tithe out of the house, and we do that regardless of whether we agree with what the apostolic church is doing, with what churches they're planting, or with whatever Action Overseas, our missionary kind of board, are doing. We give regardless of whether we agree with what they're doing, because tithing isn't about support and buying of the church or the ministry. It's about giving back to God what is his, what is consecrated. So great question though.
The issue of do you trust your leaders as well,
Yeah.
isn't it? Which, if you're asking that question, is a bigger issue than whether you give money to them. Do you trust your leadership? And if you trust your leadership, whether or not you agree that they should be spending this amount of money on light bulbs or not, it's, you trust your leadership and you pray for your leaders, and you pray that ultimately we're the ones that get to stand before God one day. And
well, just on that, we tithe faithfully to Sunny Hill, obviously. And I don't always like Sunny Hill, to be honest. Sometimes Sunny Hill does my head in. Obviously, none of the people on the chat today, but sometimes ministry's hard. But the tithe it's above all that stuff. It's not about preferences, and it's not about feelings. It's about faithfulness and obedience.
Yeah, and Joe just said it's God's money. Ultimately, you're called to bring a faithful tithe, and you're not called to pick and choose exactly what that gets spent on.
That's right.
You just bring it.
It's not our jurisdiction.
No.
All right. Awesome. Well, that's our time up, but I want to show you a great video to close. So don't go offline just because you're not going to see my face anymore.
And my unshowered face.
I'm cleaner than now.
You are.
Considerably cleaner than Yao. All right, cool. So any other questions? Oh, Doug Clubman, great chat. Good to see you, Doug. I hope you're doing well. I hope so. I heard you. I think
Don't say anything.
I heard they
it's
drew.
about. Oh, okay. Football.
About what?
I don't know. You say I heard you fell over last week, and do you know what I mean? Like, it's maybe people's private lives. But you're going to talk about a football score. That's different.
Yeah, I heard you fell over and banged your head, and now you're even uglier, Doug. That's what I heard. Ugly Dougly. That's what. Welcome to use our shower anytime. Thanks.
Joe.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, I buried Sunny Hill FC.
There we go.
Boom.
You gave him license for that.
Hey, this part of our charitable giving, every so often we lose a game on purpose.
We tithe our draws.
That's
our
what,
losses.
Yeah, we tie that on our
wins.
goals. We give it,
a tenth of our goals away.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we hope you're all well. Let me just remind you that this Sunday we've got obviously services as usual, but baptisms at 3:00
Come on.
Sandbanks Beach.
Kingdom building stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
And we're gonna go down and put the baptistry heater in the sea on 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. We're gonna take volleyball as well. It's gonna be the
Do you know
other.
what the weather is?
No, but it's irrelevant. We're gonna do it, and it's gonna be freezing. But the Jill, who's one of the people getting baptized, wanted it to be in the sea.
Amazing.
So if you don't want to go in the sea, we are going to do another baptisms at the end of November indoors. But the sea sounds fun, even though it's going to be freezing. I was driving this morning and it was cold when I got up early this morning. And I was like, I'm going to be in the sea on Sunday.
Amazing. What a feeling. What a feeling, though.
I might wear a wetsuit.
Great.
I'll look like a big seal. A Navy SEAL. What are you laughing about?
Nice.
Obviously.
Nice. That was good. That was good.
And also, so that's 3 p.m. on Sunday, and then 6 p.m. Is it 6 p.m.?
Yeah.
We've got prayer gathering down at Corfmullen. So
can't wait.
It's going to be awesome to do that.
What a Sunday.
What a Sunday. It's going to be a great Sunday. But we love you guys. And even though I say sometimes Sunny Hill does made in, nothing personal. It's just life in it. People can be hard graft at times, but not you guys, obviously. Yeah, amazing. But we hope you have a great week. Check out this video, and it's pretty cool. And this is a great little insight as to God's pie. Check it out.
Thanks. Dankeschön. ありがとう.
Oh, I could. Well, maybe just a bite.
Oh yeah! All right! Don't forget the interest. Dude, he brought the pie.
Dude, he brought the pie. The brought the pie. Anyways, have a good week. Hope you enjoyed that video. I like that. Look, he bought the pie. Great.
He did. And
He
we're
bought the
grateful
pie.
that he bought the pie.
He bought the pie. He bought your pie. Who ate all the pies? Well, technically we should we? Because 10% of it
Not all
belongs
the
to
pie.
not all the pie. Who ate 90% of the pies? Anyways, have a great week and let that video sit in your mind as you crack on with your day. Lovely to see you all. Blessings. Ciao.